Hey guys, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I'm Phil once again, and when we last left off, we had a satellite in orbit. We got a guy into orbit. He came back. So now, what we're doing is, instead of doing a rocket, we're working on a plane. Because what I'd like to try and do is use like a space plane to take off and land like a normal plane, but be able to go out into the atmosphere, and from the atmosphere we can continue getting higher and higher until we're in a steady orbit, and use this for all of our interplanetary transportation, just like a plane. So I'm adding a bunch of fuselages here, which those have jet fuel in them. And now just wings. If you look around, you'll see that the way that the space plane hangar is set up is a little different than the rocket one. Everything is actually more of a horizontal thing, and you can't really duplicate as much. Like if you try and duplicate on sides, you can only do like one side and the other side, not up to 8 or anything like that. So I've realized here that the fuselages don't have oxidizer in them, meaning that the fuel in them only works with atmosphere. If you go out of the atmosphere in them, you can't use that fuel, or you can for whatever other oxidizer you have floating around, but you lose it. You end up not being able to use it. So I'm using 2 of those, and then I'm adding these for RCS fuel. The RCS fuel is basically going to be so that we can connect. We'll eventually be trying to dock this with things up in space. Maybe we'll use all of the fuselages and everything to get up into the atmosphere, and maybe I think I'm going to plan on getting into orbit a fuel station. And we can fuel up once we're in orbit, and then have fuel again, full tanks and everything, just so we can move on. So here I'm just kind of trying to decide where I want to put everything. Put air intakes in the front. That way, pretty much we're getting our oxygen from there for the jet fuel. And then in the middle we have the spike one. I forget the name of it off the top of my head right now, but that one doesn't need atmosphere for that engine to run. Other things important on the space plane, you see I just put the little flaps on the back of the wings there, and then these canards, or whatever they're called, they help balance things out too. It looks a little ridiculous. I don't even know if this is really going to work yet, but I'm going to put 2 RCS things up here, 2 there, and then 4 on the bottom as well. Just so we can balance things out if I'm ever trying to dock with something. Now, tail fin, and we're going to add a flap on the back of the tail fin as well. Right there. And what else are we looking for? We got the winglets up there. And now we're just gonna put this for the docking. And actually, that probably... See, surprisingly enough, planes are a lot harder to develop than rockets in this game. I don't know what it is, but for some reason it's a lot harder to even take off in the atmosphere with one of these planes than to get into orbit with a rocket. I'll put some parachutes here as well. And we can put something. Furthermore, I'm sure you've probably noticed it from the other 3 videos before this, but I've actually recorded all of these in advance from episode 1 to episode 6, and the sound on that footage got screwed up. So that's why all you're hearing is my voice. You're not going to hear any of the stuff like that. But the footage I recorded after episode 6 should work fine. Now, I'm going to put Gus Me in the cockpit of this, and then here's where we start working with action groups. What you want to do is you want to set an action group to toggle your air engine and your non-air engine. That way when you get out of the atmosphere, you just switch. Otherwise, you got to work it with staging. It's just going to screw it all up. It's a lot easier to do it like that. I'll name it Cloud Duster because I'm probably going to dust the clouds and then crash. So let's see if I can even take off with this. Another thing, if you saw those yellow things, I didn't mention it while I was building, but those are fuel tubes where basically the fuel in my fuselage is on the sides can transfer back and forth between the middle fuel with so basically all of the fuel in all of my fuel tanks can be used by any engine. So I'm getting ready to take off. See how it goes. Going up. Going up. I'm trying to go up. Up, up. There. Oh, fuck. That was a very rocky takeoff. Gus Me is a little bit concerned at my abilities to pilot this plane. Can't really see that much because, as usual, I seem to be taking off at night. Anyway, keep the SAS on, and that should help me keep balanced and on a steady course. Or at least it's supposed to. I don't know how likely that is, as it keeps leaning me off to the left for whatever reason. Gus Me's still a little worried. He doesn't think that this is gonna make it into space, so he's probably hoping that as soon as we have some issues, he can just turn around and land, go back home, and have a drink. Regardless, I am about 2.5. Oh shit! And now I'm having issues already. For some reason, this craft just wants to spin a lot. I've turned the RCS on to help me out with keeping it level. That way the RCS will blow in the correct levels so that the SAS can steady it. But it still just doesn't seem to be working like that, even though it should be. And obviously I've sped this up a little bit as well. I think it's about 2 times the normal speed right now, just because literally I'm not even moving right now, but still not really close to getting out of the atmosphere. I'm about halfway to breaking the first layer of it, and I am getting to the point where I can see the sun rising, which that's kind of cool at least. I still got plenty of oxygen at the level that I'm at. I'm getting the intake air to keep these engines running. I think when it gets to 0.01 is when I run out of air for those engines, and I have to switch to the aerospike. But I still have 0.50. Oh, where did my air go? My air just... Oh boy, I'm getting all fucked up again. I just don't understand why the SAS has so many issues whenever I make a space plane. Back to 0.5. I seem steady, stabled out now. Gus Me is getting even more worried because that's like 3 times now that this plane's just randomly spun out of control, and he's thinking, okay, what the fuck's going on? So as you can see, even with the SAS on, I'm just having so many issues keeping steady. I'm trying as hard as I can with the RCS to just put it in the direction it needs to go, but now it starts rotating this way. I'm not even flying in a straight line. I can't even imagine what the trail I'm leaving of smoke would be. And still, I'm only at 10,000. It usually takes like 30 seconds to get here with a rocket, and it's been 5.5 minutes of flight so far. So, I don't know. I don't entirely know what I'm doing with space planes. I really want to know, but obviously there are issues. Maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. If I don't know what I'm doing, leave me a comment in the comment section. Just tell me what the hell I need to do. Because for some reason, maybe it's the SAS, but I can't even fly in a straight line. Most of the time in the past, before this recording, I can't even get off the landing strip. Like, I'll start taking off, and then I'll just randomly move to the right. So, it's still got a little bit of intake air left, but soon I think I'm going to switch into the other rocket instead, the engine, the Aerospike engine, because that one doesn't need to be fueled by air like these jet engines do. And once I switch, I guess I'm gonna switch. I could switch a little past the 0.1 mark. As soon as it gets low enough, I'll switch. It should be in a couple seconds the way it's rising. And 5.04, 0.03. Yeah, once there's no air, these engines are no good. You can't hear it in the recording, but there's definitely no... oh shit, and as soon as I turn the Aerospike on, everything gets fucked up. Can't even... I just started spinning for no reason. Plenty of issues going on. And let's see how much we can do this to get up. Can we actually get into orbit with it? Gusme is still doubting it. But maybe he's just upset because he was really hoping to go home, and it looks like we're getting up into... nope, we're not really doing too well. For some reason, as soon as I turn the SAS off with my plane design, I just start spinning. Using my RCS to push it in the other direction, and it's not even going. It just keeps spinning the way it's spinning now, and now Gusme is starting to panic a little bit. He's probably screaming, but again, there's not really any sound. And oh shit, now we've got even more problems going on. I've cut the engines in hopes to level myself and then re-enable them. But I am just dropping and dropping very quickly, and this isn't going well anymore. This mission might not land safely back at the Space Center. I'm sorry, Gusme, but you might be the first Kerbal to die on a mission. Which, I'm sorry it has to be you, but judging by the way that the plane is stabilizing right now, I don't feel too promising about your future. Now maybe it's just your piloting skills, maybe it's my design, but Gusme, you're all fucked up. And now we're already getting to 2,000 meters above the ocean, and you're just now starting to slightly stabilize. Switching back to the air engines because maybe it's something with the aerospike. I've never used it except for a space plane. We are at least stabling out. No, I lied. We're not fucking stabling out. We're all screwed up, and that's it. So, tune in next time when I try and figure out what the hell I'm doing wrong. Farewell.